My boyfriend lost a game of truth or dare, and his punishment was to kiss his ex. A whole group of people was watching me like it was a joke. When it was my turn, I pointed at the most popular guy on campus and said, "A kiss, right? Then I choose him." He laughed, flicked away his cigarette butt, and pulled me into his arms. "Didn't you say you were going to kiss me? Why am I the one making the first move?" Chapter 1. I only came to the terrace to get some fresh air. Before I even pushed the door open, I heard a woman's soft whisper from inside, sweet, clingy, like she was coaxing someone, in a secluded corner. My boyfriend was holding a woman in a black dress. I knew her. She was his ex, the one he had dated for 3 years. Today was Edgar's birthday. His ex showed up uninvited, and even brought along the campus heartthrob. I could tell Edgar was uncomfortable. His tone turned cold as he asked, "Why are you here?" Robin glanced at me, then smiled gently, like she was soothing a child throwing a tantrum. "I told you, I'd never miss your birthday." A weight settled on my shoulder as Edgar pulled me into his arms. Looking down at her, he said, "Thanks, but I don't need that anymore." And now, they were pressed tightly together, kissing like they couldn't get enough of each other. I could even hear the faint, wet sounds of their lips meeting in the air. Suddenly, I remembered the day Edgar confessed to me. We had been standing close like this. He lowered his head, about to kiss me. I turned my face away, rejected him. He gave a dry laugh and said, "Linda, I can wait for you." So this is what he meant by waiting, not going in? A voice suddenly came close to my ear. A faint cedarwood scent lingered. I turned around to find the campus heartthrob, Cody, standing behind me, lazily smoking. There was no sadness on his face, no anger, not even a trace of disappointment after being cheated on. As expected of the campus heartthrob, completely unfazed. Even if the world collapsed in front of him, I pointed inside and asked curiously, "Doesn't it bother you?" "Bother me?" He raised an eyebrow, confused. I shook my head. "Never mind. I'm heading downstairs." As I left, I heard Robin's voice, tinged with tears, as she asked Edgar, "Is she your way of getting back at me?" I didn't want to hear his answer anymore. Seriously, what a joke. Chapter 2. When Edgar came back, Robin followed behind him, her eyes red. Someone, already drunk, waved at them and joked loudly, "Sis-in-law." But midway, he awkwardly corrected himself, "Robin." Then he glanced at me, clearly uncomfortable. The couch dipped again as Edgar sat down on my left. He lifted his right arm and rested it along the back of the couch, like he was about to pull me into his arms. I felt even more uncomfortable. My back stiffened as I sat upright, avoiding even the slightest physical contact with him. "Hey, don't just drink. That's boring. Let's play something fun," someone suggested. "Like what?" Others chimed in. "King's Game?" "Maybe not." They glanced at Cody. No one dared to play something like that with him around. Truth or dare. Then, someone made the final call. So cliché. Even so, they started playing anyway. A bottle spun across the table, half a turn, and stopped in front of Robin. She smiled generously, a hint of playful complaint in her voice as she looked at everyone. "You guys just want to laugh at me, don't you?" Even so, she didn't seem upset. She casually drew a card, then froze. Her fingers tightened around the card, her smile stiffening on her face. "What is it?" A guy sitting across from her stood up and snatched the card from her hand. His expression froze too. "Oh, this one's not good. Let's switch it. Draw another one." Others immediately agreed. Robin lifted her hand, slender and delicate, reaching toward the box to draw again. But before she could, Cody, leaning back on the couch, let out a half smile. He raised his head, his gaze landing on the stunned Robin, and said lazily, "Why redraw? Can't you handle losing?" Chapter 3. The atmosphere froze. And yet, Cody said nothing more. Robin stood up, snatched the card back, and said with a light laugh, "Oh, please, what's there to redraw? It's just a game. I'm not someone who can't handle it." She read out the punishment on the card. "Kiss the second person of the opposite sex sitting to your left." The second person to her left. was Edgar. I looked at Edgar. He had been staring at Robin the whole time, not even noticing me. Ironically, Robin had been watching Cody instead, as if waiting for his reaction, but Cody had none. Edgar took my hand, trying to smooth things over. Come on, let's not just drink instead. My girlfriend's right here. I let out a silent sneer and pulled my hand away. He froze for a moment. What's wrong? I had always been obedient, never embarrassing him like this before. Robin smiled at me and said, "Sorry, girl, mind if I borrow your boyfriend for a second?" I found it almost funny, looking at her triumphant eyes, slightly lifted, like she was flaunting her victory. I smiled back, even more composed than she was, my words carrying a subtle edge. Why be polite? It's not like you two haven't kissed before. Chapter 4. Linda. Edgar looked at me, slightly stunned, but between Robin and me, who mattered more was obvious to everyone. Robin stepped forward, pulling Edgar's attention away from me. It's just a kiss. You're not going to refuse, are you? The attention on me quickly faded. Edgar glanced at Cody and sneered. Whatever, I'll just treat it like getting bitten by a dog. Still pretending. Even now, Robin's face turned pale, but she grabbed his collar and kissed him anyway. They completed the punishment quickly, just a light, fleeting touch of lips. But I noticed, right before they pulled apart, Robin bit him. Disgusting. The others started clapping and cheering. Someone even gave me a thumbs up. Damn, you're amazing. Such a big-hearted queen. Big-hearted? Just wait, I'll show you something even bigger. After the kiss, Edgar grabbed a tissue, wiped his lips, and leaned toward me, coaxing. Baby, don't be mad, okay? It's just a game. We can't be the ones who can't handle it. Funny. I pushed him away. Right then, the bottle stopped spinning, in front of me. Oh, your turn, draw a card. I reached out and picked one at random, flipping it open. Before I could even read it, Edgar snatched it from me, more eager than I was. After reading it, his expression relaxed. He tossed the card aside, leaned back on the couch, and grinned smugly. Pick someone of the opposite sex here and kiss them. No way. Edgar, showing off your love now? Man, you're lucky tonight, kissing two beauties in a row. Watch your mouth, miss. He's drunk, don't mind him. Come on. Just kiss already. Haven't seen you two kiss before. Everyone was egging it on. They had all already assumed that I would choose Edgar. Even Edgar himself looked at me expectantly. I said nothing. I simply tilted my head slightly and let my gaze fall on Robin. Her earlier smugness had disappeared. Her brows were furrowed, her face slightly pale, and she looked at Edgar with visible unease. Under everyone's expectant gaze, I smiled. Still gentle, still soft. Anyone's fine, right? After saying that, I raised my hand and started pointing at the guys sitting across from me, counting one by one. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. My finger passed over each of them. Those I pointed at followed my hand. Eyes locked on it. Then, it stopped in front of Cody. I could feel the room collectively suck in a breath. Several people's expressions changed. Even Robin looked panicked. That expression was somehow harder for her to accept than if I had chosen Edgar. For a moment, I felt curious. Who did Robin actually love? But honestly, what did that have to do with me? I reached out and poked Cody. He turned his head, his eyes cool and unreadable, emotions hidden deep within those dark pupils. I pretended to be carefree, but inside, I was nervous as hell. So it's a kiss, right? I choose him. Chapter 5. A deathly silence fell over the room, heavy, suffocating, completely frozen. Edgar picked up a glass from the table and downed 3 drinks in a row, then flipped the cup upside down, no drop spilled. He looked at Cody and said, "I'll drink this for Linda. Consider the extra as an apology. She's had too much, don't take it seriously." I looked at Cody. He slowly lit another cigarette, then turned his head to look at me. Suddenly, he let out a soft laugh and asked, "You've had too much to drink?" "I haven't. I'm completely sober." "That's enough." The first one to lose her patience was actually Robin. Her brows shot up, her sharp voice cutting through the air as she snapped. Edgar, can you control your girlfriend? What kind of place is this? Does she really think she can act out here? I looked at Robin, raised an eyebrow, and found her almost laughable. I shot back. Isn't it just a game? Why are you acting like you can't handle it? Sorry. Girl, mind if I borrow your boyfriend for a second? Linda, are you insane? Edgar grabbed my arm, gritting his teeth as he whispered in my ear. I know you're upset, but don't go too far. Get up, I'm taking you home. I wasn't as strong as him. He pulled me up by force, but in the next second, another force dragged me back down. The large hand that had been idly playing with a glass moments ago suddenly gripped my wrist. Just as I thought. Strong, with barely any effort, he pulled me back onto the couch. Cody lifted his eyes. They were cold, so cold no one dared to resist. He looked at Edgar and said slowly, "What's the rush? The game isn't over yet." Edgar had a temper too. He'd held it in all night, only for it to explode now, at me. The game is already over. Didn't I drink for her just now? Is that so? Cody's expression remained calm as he turned to me and asked, "Do you need him to drink for you?" No, I didn't even look at Edgar. He felt filthy. Cody flicked away his cigarette, then grabbed my wrist again. With a slight pull, he dragged me into his arms. I startled, my body instinctively resisting, both hands pressing against his chest to push him away. I heard him let out a low chuckle. His eyes were icy as he said, "Didn't you say you were going to kiss me? Why am I the one making the first move?" Chapter 6. Soft. That was the only thing I could think of. Cody's lips. They were so soft, like jelly, completely different from the cold, distant aura he gave off. The moment our lips touched, I wanted to pull away, but a force tightened around my waist. I couldn't even sit steady anymore, as if I were falling, sinking into a dream woven from cedarwood scent. He held my waist firmly, lowering his head slightly. The pressure deepened. My scalp tingled. I couldn't hold myself upright. It took a long time before I could finally breathe fresh air again. This was my first kiss. My eyes were misty, my lipstick completely smudged. Cody's lips were just as messy. He lifted his hand, using his thumb to wipe the lipstick off his lips. Then he looked at me, his gaze deep, unreadable. In a low, husky voice, he said slowly, "No need to thank me." Chapter 7. The next time I saw them was half a month later. Robin had been right about one thing. This really wasn't a place where I could act out. Without Edgar, I was just an ordinary part-time waitress. Thanks to him, my life hadn't been easy lately. My coworkers at the club all assumed I had tried to latch onto a rich second-generation heir and got dumped, whether openly or behind my back. They mocked and ridiculed me. Some people really don't know their place. Just a poor girl, yet dreaming of becoming a rich man's wife. So embarrassing. If you've got time for that, why not go fix your face first? With looks like that, who are you even competing with? Oh, come on. Don't be so harsh. They laughed loudly while looking straight at me. I didn't care, because people at school had said far worse. Edgar and Robin got back together. The once perfect golden couple reunited. And me, the only one who had dated Edgar, naturally became the comparison. In the end, everyone reached the same conclusion. Family background, looks, personality. I wasn't a match for Robin in any of them. You could even say, I was left far behind. Maybe I had been insulted too much these past few days, because I suddenly thought I was hearing things. I heard Robin's voice. Waitress. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Come here. Oh, so it wasn't my imagination. I turned my head and saw Robin standing at the private room doorway, beckoning at me. When she realized it was me, she froze for a moment, then quickly broke into a mocking smile. Well, what are you doing here? Why aren't you coming over yet? Just then, Edgar walked out. When he saw me, he also froze, his expression turning awkward and embarrassed. Painfully unpleasant. Robin crossed her arms, looking at him with ridicule. After breaking up with me, your standards really dropped. You're even into waitresses now? Edgar rolled his eyes and shot back. Oh, And your taste is so great. Does he even take you seriously? Robin's expression darkened. Edgar had annoyed her, so she took it out on me. She ordered me to pour her a glass of warm water. I brought over more than 10 glasses. One moment it was too hot, the next too cold. Then she said the taste was off. Everyone in the room watched her toy with me. No one spoke up for me. Some kept playing mahjong, others kept shaking dice. To them, I was just an invisible nobody, including Edgar, the man who once said he liked me. Is this how your service works here? You can't even pour a proper glass of water? Call your manager over. Robin summoned the manager. Right in front of everyone, the manager scolded me harshly, pressed down on my back, and forced me to bow to her, making me apologize with a smile. I wanted to resist so badly, but I couldn't. I had no money. I couldn't afford to lose this job. Robin leaned back against the sofa, watching me with satisfaction. You think saying sorry is enough? I looked back at her. My gaze was cold, calm. What else do you want? How dare you talk to a guest like that? The manager struck my back hard. It hurt, a burning, searing pain. She bent over submissively and asked Robin, Miss Robin, what would you like her to do? Robin picked up the kettle and poured a full glass of boiling hot water. Steam rose from it. She pushed the glass in front of me and smiled sweetly. Drink it, or kneel down and beg me. Your choice. Chapter 8. I didn't have a choice. I stared at that glass of hot water, really wanting to throw it straight at her face. But if I did, this entire month of work would be for nothing. Just endure one last day. Once I get my pay, I'll quit. I picked up the glass. The moment my fingers touched it, the heat made my hand tremble, but I still forced myself to lift it. It was so hot, I could barely hold it steady. In the end, I had no choice but to set the glass back on the table, lower my head, and drink from it like that. Like a dog. Even Edgar couldn't stand it anymore. That's enough. Is this really fun for you? What? You feel bad for her? Edgar glanced at me, then said nothing more. He walked past me and stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind him. The loud bang silenced even those who had been playing. All eyes turned to me. I closed my eyes. Just as I was about to drink that glass of water, I heard the door creak open. Someone grabbed my hand from behind and pulled me up. A familiar cedarwood scent brushed past my nose. I looked up and saw Cody's back. Why was he here? Boss? The manager looked panicked, even more submissive than she had been with Robin earlier. Boss, this is all my fault for poor management. I didn't discipline her properly. That's why Linda acted so outrageously. I'll fire her immediately. You are guilty of poor management. Cody cut her off. He turned his head slightly, a mocking smile forming on his lips. His tone casual, like he was just talking about the weather. A manager who can't even protect their own employees. What right do you have to act in charge here? What? The manager froze, clearly not understanding. Cody looked at her coldly. In that moment, his presence felt far beyond someone our age. What I mean is, you're fired. The manager panicked and tried to rush forward to say something, but 2 security guards came in and dragged her out. Her cries echoed faintly down the hallway, until they disappeared. Silence returned to the room. Robin awkwardly adjusted her hair and said, How come I didn't hear about the place changing owners? Cody glanced at her and replied lightly, Is it that hard to acquire a club? Robin choked on her words for a second, then nodded. Fine, since you're the boss. That makes things easy. Cody, your employee made me unhappy. How are you planning to compensate me? Cody ignored her. Instead, he turned to look at me. His brown eyes were calm, and for a brief moment, I thought I saw a hint of warmth in them. Did you do anything wrong? No, I answered without hesitation. Cody nodded. Good, you can go out first. Robin grew anxious and stepped forward. Cody, what do you mean by this? Cody looked at her, a faintly cold smile on his lips. Didn't you hear? My employee said she did nothing wrong, but I said she did. And who do you think you are? His smile deepened. He raised a hand and called in a few more security guards. My club doesn't welcome guests who bully my staff. You're permanently blacklisted. So, are you leaving on your own? or do you want me to have you escorted out? Chapter 9. In the break room, Cody handed me a cup of warm water. Thanks. My face was pale as I took it. He stood in front of me with one hand in his pocket, looking down at me, observing. His tone was neither warm nor cold as he asked, "Weren't you pretty bold that night? Why are you such a coward today?" "Because I'm poor," I answered honestly. A faint laugh escaped him, as if he'd just heard something amusing. "You're not afraid of offending me, but you're afraid of offending Robin?" The way he said it, like I was some kind of idiot. I frowned slightly, confused. Did I offend you? If he meant that kiss. You seemed more proactive than I was. Cody froze for a second, then looked at me with a meaningful gaze. Not bad. Got some guts, talking back to your boss like that. Crap. I forgot. He's my boss now. I immediately set the cup down, stood up straight, lowered my chin slightly, and said respectfully, "Boss, I was wrong." Cody tilted his chin up slightly, looking at me unhurriedly. His tone lifted a little, sounding like he was in a good mood. "Oh, what were you wrong about?" "I shouldn't have forced a kiss on my boss, and I definitely shouldn't have talked back to you. I'm sorry, you're not going to dock my pay, right?" I looked up at him, my clear eyes carrying just a hint of foolishness. He stared at me for a moment, then gave an inexplicable smile. "Linda, you're interesting." To me, that sounded exactly like, "Woman, you've caught my attention." I gave a helpless smile. Then I heard him ask, "Are you short on money?" I nodded. "Very." He thought for 3 seconds, then asked, "Do you know how to play mahjong?" "Huh?" Answer, "A little." Cody nodded. "Good. Come with me." It was a club even bigger than the Platinum Club. 3 people were already waiting in the private room, seated around a mahjong table. When we walked in, one of them, wearing a traditional Tang suit, laughed and teased. "Heard young Master Cody went off to play the hero and save a damsel? So this is the beauty he saved? No wonder you're late." If it were me, I'd have ditched us completely. They spoke one after another. I felt a little embarrassed and lowered my head. Cody pulled out a chair for me and let me sit down, then took his seat beside me unhurriedly. He shot them a cold glance. "Talk too much." The man in the Tang suit laughed, completely unfazed. "What's this? Young Master Cody getting shy?" He leaned over with a cigarette, offering one to Cody and lighting it for him. Cody bit down on the cigarette, his expression calm as he exhaled a stream of pale smoke. All 4 of them were smoking. The room quickly filled with thick smoke. It was suffocating. I coughed twice. Cody turned his head, his brown eyes fixing on me. "Can't handle it?" "A little, but I'm fine." His gaze lowered slightly as he looked at my reddened face from coughing. Then he stubbed out his cigarette in the ashtray. He raised his hand, waving away the lingering smoke in front of him, and said calmly, "Stop smoking." His voice wasn't loud, but it was enough for the other 3 to hear. "You quitting smoking, young Master Cody?" Cody shot them a cold glance and said slowly, "The girl can't handle the smoke." The only girl in the room was me. Their curious gazes landed on my face. "Looks like the rumors are true. Young Master Cody really did go play hero." "Miss, what's your name? How did you win him over? Teach us your ways." They kept talking one after another. My ears turned red from embarrassment. Only Cody remained completely at ease, as if he had always been this kind of gentleman, as if no matter who sat here today, he would have helped them all the same. I knew it very clearly. I wasn't anything special. Someone like him, so high above everyone else, would never stop for someone like me. I had always been very self-aware. Chapter 10. After that, Cody often asked me to keep him company and play mahjong. Honestly, I wasn't very good at it. I kept losing, and it made me a little nervous. He noticed my tension, leaned close to my ear, and said, "If you lose, it's on me. If you win, it's yours." Was there really such a good deal? I looked at him, worried he might be overestimating my skills, and asked, "No matter how much I lose?" Cody burst out laughing at that. He bent over the table, laughing so hard he could barely straighten up. Then he lifted his head slightly, his eyes bright, and said, How much could you possibly lose? Well, that was hard to say. But Cody didn't let me lose for long. Several times, just as I was about to play a tile, he would press down on my hand and casually push out a tile with his fingers, saying, "Play this one." Every time, he managed to turn the game around and help me snatch victory from defeat. The other three couldn't stand it anymore and protested. "Hey, what's this? Calling in outside help now?" "Exactly. No teaming up like a couple. Get out of here." Cody had no choice but to shrug and obediently move to the side. He looked at me innocently, as if to say he couldn't help me anymore, and I really did pull myself together. At first, I was losing badly, but later I turned things around and won so much that they started complaining and didn't want to play anymore. "What's going on? Cody? Did you bring a genius with you? How is your girl pretending to be clueless and then crushing us? If she didn't play dumb, how would she win Cody over?" "Fair point. Let's just treat this money as a wedding gift." They kept calling me sister-in-law. At first it was just a joke, but gradually it started to sound more and more real. In the beginning, I would clarify our relationship, but later, seeing that Cody didn't care, I stopped bothering. Either way, I was the one benefiting from it. Today's game ended quickly because they had some urgent matters to attend to and had to leave. After the game broke up, Cody saw them off, and the private room fell quiet again. He sat next to me, idly fiddling with the mahjong tiles, and asked, "Been studying up?" "What?" Cody picked up a tile between two fingers and said, "This." So he figured it out. I really had been staying up late studying, buying several books and even watching live streams of mahjong matches whenever I had time. I shook my head and said, "No, I'm just naturally gifted." That made him laugh again. I noticed he had been laughing a lot lately. "Is it really that funny?" I asked, then admitted, "All right, fine. I did study a bit. I was worried about losing your money. What if you went broke? Who would pay my salary then? So if I go bankrupt, you'll just ignore me?" Cody looked up at me, half serious and half teasing. Arlinda really is cold-blooded and heartless. His gaze made me feel a little embarrassed. "Come on, you're not going to go bankrupt." Cody raised an eyebrow. "Why not?" "Because you're so good-looking. Heaven wouldn't let someone like you suffer." He looked at me, as if lost in thought. After a while, he asked, "Then would you let me suffer?" "What?" I thought I must have misheard. He shook his head. "Nothing. Come on. Get up. I'll take you back to school." Chapter 11. As we got close to the school gate, I said to Cody, "Just drop me off here. I'll walk in myself." It was always like this. The first time I made this request, he actually stopped the car, turned to look at me, and seemed a little annoyed. "Is it that embarrassing to be seen with me?" "No." I shook my head. "On the contrary, it's too not embarrassing. That's exactly why I can't let anyone see." Cody didn't really understand what I meant, but ever since then, he always dropped me off far from the school gate. Except today, he didn't listen. He drove straight up and stopped right at the entrance. A yellow Ferrari parked at the school gate. Everyone in school recognized his car. I didn't even dare get out. I shrank into the passenger seat, terrified someone might see me, and asked, "Why did you stop here?" "Because I felt like it." Then, as if something crossed his mind, he suddenly asked, "I heard someone's been pursuing you lately?" "Who?" I had no idea what he was talking about. Cody tapped the bridge of his nose with his index finger, looking a bit unnatural. "The guy from the basketball team?" "Oh, no, he just came to borrow my homework." As I spoke, I kept glancing around, afraid someone might notice us, but the reality was probably that everyone already had. "Oh, I've got a game tomorrow. Come watch." "What game?" I hadn't heard him mention it before. Cody looked at me and smiled. It was actually a really good-looking smile. "A basketball game. Come bring me water." I refused immediately, without even thinking. "No way. Absolutely not." That was basically volunteering to become a walking target. Cody seemed to have expected my refusal. He looked at me leisurely, the corner of his lips curling into a confident smile. "Bring me water, or get out of the car right here. Your choice." "You little..." He actually dared to threaten me. With zero dignity, I answered, "I'll bring water, But I'm only bringing water. I'm not doing anything else. Cody's expression turned playful as he teased me. What else were you planning to do? His drawn-out tone sent heat rushing to the tips of my ears. I looked away, not daring to meet his eyes. Just drive already. I need to get away from this trouble zone. Back in the dorm, my roommate grabbed me and said, Linda, did you hear? The campus heartthrob has a girlfriend. Oh, that was news to me. Look, he drove here today, and there was a girl in the passenger seat. Everyone's guessing she's his girlfriend. They all think it's Robin. Robin? I took her phone and glanced at the secretly taken photo. Thankfully, my face wasn't visible, but why Robin? You didn't know? They used to have a thing, but later Robin got back together with Edgar. Honestly, her taste is kind of confusing. Why would she pick Edgar? Anyone would choose Cody. Ah, my roommate suddenly remembered that I used to date Edgar. She covered her mouth, realizing she'd said the wrong thing. Linda, that's not what I meant. It's fine. I laughed it off easily. I think you're right. Right? Seeing that I had completely moved on, she relaxed and went back to gossiping with me. Then who do you think it is? The department beauty from the English department who confessed to him before? Or that pretty freshman? I don't know. I shook my head again, then shamelessly hyped myself up. Probably some drop-dead gorgeous girl. Well, obviously. My roommate rolled her eyes at me. Of course she's stunning. Otherwise, how could she possibly match him? I looked at myself in the mirror and touched my face. Drop-dead gorgeous. Wasn't that a bit of an exaggeration? Chapter 12. I didn't want to bring water to Cody alone, so I came up with a brilliant idea. I bought 2 whole cases of water and carried them to the basketball court. During halftime, I handed them out one by one. When I got to Cody, I smiled at him and said, "Here." His face darkened. He took it, and from the look in his eyes, I could tell exactly what he meant. We'll settle this later. A few guys from the basketball team happened to walk over. Oh, sister-in-law is here bringing us water. I glanced at Cody. His expression got even worse. I quickly said, "Aw, no, I'm not. I'm just here to hand out water. Nothing else. We get it. Sister-in-law, don't be shy." Exactly. The more I tried to explain, the worse it sounded. Cody tightened his grip on the water bottle, then tossed the half-finished bottle onto the ground and walked off without even looking at me. In the second half, he played extremely aggressively, charging forward, shooting relentlessly. It made my heart race with anxiety. He had several intense physical clashes with the team captain. Eventually, he provoked the captain's temper. When Cody jumped for a shot, he was knocked straight to the ground. My heart clenched. Not just mine, the hearts of all the girls in the crowd clenched along with it. Cody got back up, but I noticed something was off with his right foot. If I could tell, then of course the team captain could too. He kept targeting Cody's right side, and soon enough, Cody's teammates called a timeout and forced him off the court. His teammates, the same guys who had played mahjong with us before, they seemed to be arguing. Cody insisted on going back in, refusing to listen to anyone. The guy who liked wearing traditional Chinese-style outfits scanned the crowd, his gaze landing on me. Then he ran over. I froze, just watching him come closer, forgetting to move out of the way. So, right in front of everyone, he said to me, "Sister-in-law, please talk some sense into Cody. He insists on playing. We can't stop him." Sister-in-law. I could feel all the eyes on me, hear the whispers around me, but I couldn't care about any of that anymore, because I saw Cody stand up again, limping as he walked back onto the court. At that moment, everything, being judged, being targeted, being watched, completely slipped from my mind. I pushed through the crowd and ran straight toward him. Chapter 13. When Cody saw me running toward him, he froze for a moment, then said in a self-mocking tone, "Finally decided to acknowledge me?" I wasn't in the mood to joke with him. I grabbed his arm and said, "You twisted your ankle. You can't go back on the court." I had expected to argue with him, but to my surprise, Cody stared at me for a few seconds, then nodded. "All right." And just like that, he walked off the court. Just like that? I followed behind him, still feeling a bit incredulous. For the rest of the game, I sat next to him, enduring the silent resentment of all the girls in the stands. Cody, on the other hand, seemed to be in a great mood. He even had the leisure to hum a tune. Without him on the court, the rest of the team lacked motivation, and the game was lost without any suspense. Yet he didn't seem upset at all. He even went up to the basketball team captain and shook his hand warmly. The captain's gaze shifted toward me. Linda. Cody just happened to step in front of him, blocking his line of sight. You played well. Let's have another match sometime. The captain paused for a moment, then smiled in understanding. You're not bad yourself. Take care of your injury, and sorry about today. Doesn't matter. I have to give the loser some kind of compensation. What nonsense was he talking about? He was the one who lost. I accompanied Cody back home. His personal doctor checked him over and said it wasn't serious, just needed some medicated patches. But Cody kept insisting it hurt. Worried, I asked the doctor, should he get another checkup? What if it's a bone injury? The doctor glanced at Cody and said, if it were a bone injury, he wouldn't even be able to walk. Kid, still trying to play the sympathy card. Huh? Cody lay on the sofa and said, if you're done, then leave already. Stop bothering me. All right. I won't interrupt your romance. After seeing the doctor out, I sat there scrolling through my phone, my expression serious. Cody nudged me. Thirsty. Get me some water. Oh, I got up, poured him a glass of water, then went back to scrolling. Finally, Cody got annoyed. His patience clearly had limits. What are you looking at? Gossip. What gossip? I looked up at him, utterly drained. Gossip about us. Let's hear it. I tossed my phone to him. The confession page was flooded with our photos. The rumors were getting more and more ridiculous. Some even said we got together to get back at Robin and Edgar, which was complete nonsense. Cody lazily scrolled through a few posts, clearly uninterested in those people. He tossed the phone back to me and asked, so how do you want to respond? How did he know I was planning to respond? I thought for a moment and said, I'm going to say you're my boss. We're just in a purely professional relationship, strictly superior and subordinate. Absolutely nothing personal. I thought my clarification sounded perfectly reasonable, but unexpectedly, Cody's smile froze. He slowly repeated what I had just said. Nothing personal? Purely professional? A bad feeling crept into my gut. Sure enough, his eyes turned cold. The smile disappeared, replaced with a mocking tone. Linda, do you really think I'm an idiot? What did he mean? You think just anyone gets to be called sister-in-law by them? Why do you think I bothered playing against that muscle-headed idiot? Why do you think I took you to play mahjong and let you win money? Do you think I just love mahjong that much? Or that I enjoy playing 500 per point games? Linda, which one of us do you think is the fool? Chapter 14. I was the fool. Cody's way of confessing had always been this simple and direct. When I didn't respond for a long time, he kicked me out, and for half a month, he didn't contact me again. I tried to go back to work, but the new manager told me the boss didn't want me coming in anymore, cutting off my income. How ruthless. I felt a bit down. When I opened my phone, I saw that the confession page was still feeding on gossip about us. It had already been half a month. Wasn't there any new drama yet? Then Robin suddenly responded, posting something extremely pick-me, basically saying Cody was a good person, but she was getting engaged to Edgar. The photo showed their engagement rings, and just like that, everyone started calling Cody a simp. What's the point of being handsome? Still couldn't win over the goddess. Guys, if even Cody can be a simp, why are you still holding on to that ex who won't even reply to your messages instantly? No wonder he went for Linda. This is straight up a revenge squad. Cody is so lame. Thought he was some untouchable prince before. Turns out he's nothing special. Using an innocent college girl's feelings to get back at another woman. Classic campus heartthrob move. So that makes Cody the other man, right? That's disgusting. I could tolerate them insulting me, but I couldn't tolerate them insulting Cody. Since Robin refused to act with any decency, then I wouldn't hold back either. I went all out on my main account and contacted the confession page. You there? I've got something to expose. Not anonymous. That night, a video was posted on the confession page. It showed Robin and Edgar on a terrace, kissing passionately, completely lost in each other. This video was taken on Edgar's birthday. Who the real homewrecker is, I think the truth speaks for itself. But even after the video was posted, it didn't cause much of a stir. Some people said Robin had been the third party in my relationship with Edgar, calling me a disgusting ex for bringing it up. Others said Robin and Edgar had always been in love, that they couldn't help themselves, and that I was just being self-important. No matter what, at least they stopped attacking Cody. I finally felt relieved. But when I woke up, the world had changed again. Cody had responded too, more aggressively than I did. He directly tagged Robin and said, "Between the two of us, who was chasing whom, don't you know?" Robin went completely silent. A few hours later, she deleted her account. Chapter 15. I went to that luxury club. Only then did I find out Cody hadn't been there for days. A staff member led me to a private room. Looking at the empty mahjong table, I suddenly felt a wave of sadness for no clear reason. Actually, I had known Cody for a long time. He had saved me once before, back when I was working as a server. There was a drunk customer who tried to take advantage of me. It was Cody who stepped in. His tone back then was cold, and he didn't even spare me a second glance. But even so, he still helped me. I had never imagined that one day he would end up liking me, but I wasn't good enough for him. I grew up without a father. A few years ago, an accident left my mother in a vegetative state. I still had to earn money to take care of her. I didn't want to drag him down. While I was lost in these thoughts, the hospital suddenly called me. "Student Lee, your mother is being transferred today. What time can you come over?" Transferred? Since when? Why didn't I know about this? Huh? You didn't know? Then come to the hospital, we'll explain in person. I rushed to the hospital. Waiting there was Cody, whom I hadn't seen for half a month. The moment I saw him, I stopped in my tracks, not daring to step forward. Did he already know? How much did he know? Seeing me, Cody also looked a bit awkward. "I found a better care facility. It's more suitable for your mom, professional caregivers. Better environment. I'll cover the cost. Just treat it as a loan. Pay me back when you can. These are the transfer documents. Take a look. If everything's fine, just sign." The care facility Cody found for my mother was the best one. I had dreamed of transferring her there before, but it had always felt like an impossible dream. I just never expected that dream to come true so quickly. I signed the transfer papers and even wrote him an IOU. "Fill in the amount yourself. I won't have any complaints." Cody didn't even glance at the note. He casually slipped it into his pocket, then looked at me and asked, "Why did you post that video? Aren't you the one who hates being at the center of attention the most?" "Even so, I didn't want to see them badmouthing you." "So what if they did? You don't even like me, why would you care?" "Who said I don't like you?" "Huh?" Both Cody and I froze. I froze because I couldn't believe I had said that out loud. He froze because I had actually admitted it. "So you finally decided to admit it?" "What?" My face flushed, and I turned my head away, not daring to look at him. The next second, he pulled me into his arms. He still smelled like cedarwood, but this kind of thing should be initiated by the man. He said softly, "Linda, I like you." Once again, I fell into the dream he wove around me. Chapter 16. Being Cody's girlfriend was wonderful. The only problem was, he got jealous a lot. At the slightest thing, he'd kiss me or pull me into his arms, then ask if Edgar had ever treated me the same way. I finally couldn't take it anymore and told him. That was my first kiss. He froze. Then his face turned red. Lowering his head, he muttered, "Mine too." Shocking. The campus heartthrob had never even been in a relationship before. I asked him again, "Then why didn't you let me go to work before?" He held me in his arms and said lazily, "You're the boss's wife now. Do they deserve you?" Only then did I realize, ever since Cody started inviting me to play mahjong, he had been finding all kinds of excuses to keep me from working, yet still paid me my salary. Back then, I thought he was just rich and clueless. Turns out, he had been planning this all along. I secretly smiled. "So you liked me way earlier than that, huh?" The tips of his ears turned red again. He didn't answer, he just leaned in and kissed me. Even more intense than that night, Edgar was leaving the country with Robin. Before he left, he came to see me. Cody went with me to meet him. Edgar looked at us and said, Linda, about before. I'm sorry, I wronged you. I didn't let him finish. I cut him off. It's fine. I had my faults too. You can go. Edgar clearly didn't expect me to be so easygoing. He paused, then looked at me, then at Cody. Then, could young Master Cody show some mercy and let us off? I was taken aback and turned to look at Cody. His face was expressionless. I couldn't read anything from it. What did you do this time? Cody tilted his chin slightly toward Edgar and replied lazily, helping the weak. Edgar, now labeled the weak, grew agitated. He slammed the table and said, if it weren't for you, we wouldn't have ended up like this. Cody's tone remained indifferent, as casual as if he were commenting on the weather. That's exactly why I say you're weak. Besides me, who else would even be willing to acquire your business? Edgar couldn't win against him, so he turned to me again. Linda, do you see now? This is the kind of cold-blooded person he is. You should think carefully, don't let him deceive you. That was when Cody finally got serious. He narrowed his eyes, clearly angry now, and said coldly, if you don't want things to get worse for you, then get lost. Edgar left. Cody fell silent. I hugged him, gently squeezing his hand in comfort. Are you mad? He shouldn't have tried to drive a wedge between us. What's there to be mad about? He was never going to succeed anyway. Cody looked down at me, resting his chin on top of my head as he wrapped me in his arms. The hostility in him faded a little. In a lazy tone, he said, Linda, you're not allowed to leave me. That was Cody. Even when he said something affectionate, it sounded like the world owed him something. And yet, I fell for it completely. Maybe from the moment he first reached out to help me, I was already destined to fall into the web he wove. I hugged him tighter, breathing in the cedarwood scent on him, and said, I'll never leave. Outside the window, the sunlight was bright, shining warmly over us. At last, my wish had come true. Chapter Extra. Linda had a secret, and on their wedding day, that secret was finally discovered by Cody. While she was tidying up her things, a diary accidentally slipped out. Tucked inside one of its inner pockets was a photo of Cody. It was a picture that had once been posted on the school bulletin board. That photo had only been up for a single day before it was stolen. No one knew that the thief was Linda. Cody picked up the photo, narrowed his eyes, and thought for a moment. If I remember correctly, at that time, we didn't even know each other yet. He didn't know her, but she had already known him. Linda's heart started racing. Cody sat down beside her, pulled her into his arms, and asked, Can I read it? She nodded, her voice trembling slightly. Go ahead. He opened the diary, and along with it, he opened the secret she had buried for so long. 2:14. The first time someone was willing to help me. 2:15. How can I get closer to him? 3:9. I came up with a brilliant idea. 6:6. Turns out he's not Edgar's friend. I misunderstood. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have bothered with Edgar. The good news is, he walked into the wrong room. I kissed him. That was my first kiss. 8:9. It seems like he likes me. 9:9. He really does like me. 10:1. He agreed to be my boyfriend. So it turned out, everything had been part of her plan all along.